Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio, and I'm your host, Ron Fitch. And I'm going to tell you the truth when it comes to the NFL. And there were two really, I looked at the biggest games. I always try to pick out the biggest games and most competitive games. Well, first of all, on Christmas, congratulations to the Packers for taking care of the Browns, Baker Mayfield and his interceptions, and the Colts for going on the road in a tough environment, beating the Cardinals. That was a blood and guts win by the Colts. Carson Wentz made some passes, and he also overthrew some passes, but he did what he had to do. He made big passes to T.Y. Hilton and Pittman, and Taylor is an MVP candidate. Him and Rodgers, 1A, 1B, 108 yards of hard, tough running. And they took care of Arizona. And that could come back to hurt Arizona because the Rams won it. And I'll get to that right after I get to what I predicted correctly. I told you guys the Bills are going to win in New England. I knew in my heart the Bills were a better team. I think the New England is a year away. Everybody's going all crazy and silly about New England's Super Bowl chances. Stop it. They're very good, well coached. Belichick, solid on defense, not ready, don't have enough playmakers, rookie quarterback. And the Bills took advantage of that, and they got an early lead. They went up 17-7. And the Bills were very aggressive, and the play calling was superb. It was outstanding. 3 out of 4 times they went forward on fourth down and made it. Their D was solid in the first half. They were really controlling the game. And the sidearm pass by Allen to Diggs, who had a great game on fourth down, was outrageously good. They go up 17-7. They're in the third quarter, they're driving to go up 24-7 to, in essence, put this game away. And what I thought may have came back to cost them was Josh Allen rolls out, misses Kumaro in a wide open pass in the end zone. They settled for a field goal, and that woke New England up because New England drove down the field. And Harris Powell drives it in. It's 20-14. But the Bills come right back. And I'm going to tell you something. McKenzie on Buffalo Isaiah McKenzie had a low-key, really good game. He had 11 receptions for 125 yards. Diggs was the star. He had 85. He didn't have many yards as McKenzie, but Diggs was the star. They both scored, but McKenzie was very good, making big-time catches on third down. And the Bills ended up scoring. All right, 26-14. But New England came right back down, and Harris had a fantastic touchdown run. I mean, it was a special run. It looked like he took on 11 guys in the end zone. 1-yard touchdowns, as good a 1-yard touchdown as you'll see. The Bills come back down and score. I mean, Damian Harris had an 8-yard touchdown run. It was one of the best 8-yard touchdown runs I've seen. But the Bills come back down, and they made some play after play. The 17-yard pass from Isaiah McKenzie, the cross-the-field pass. The 15-yard pass by Isaiah McKenzie. And then they stuff them at the New England 34. All right, do you kick a field goal? 4:27. It's an 8-point game. New England's moving the ball well. They could tie the score. Coach McDermott got aggressive, and he suckered Belichick, which is hard to do. Belichick loaded up the inside with at least 10 men in the box. The formation, the way they lined it up, the formation said that Singletary's going to get the ball in the B gap on the right side. They're going to hand the ball off. They did everything that Belichick thought, but Allen kept the ball, and their defenders had a chance to stop Allen once they snuffed it out, and they figured they got fooled. But what Allen did, he made a nice little move, and Allen was going to be determined to get that first down anyway. And he's a big, strong quarterback that could run well. He ended up making some sweet shuttle passes to Diggs and then to Knox for the clinching touchdown and put it away. And the Bills took care of business, and I knew they would. And I believe they're going to beat Atlanta and the Jets, and they're going to win the division. And the AFC is very, very interested with the Kansas City taking care of business against Pittsburgh, Tennessee winning. The Niners really gift wrapped. Garofalo won that game for Tennessee. He was horrible. And Tennessee took advantage of it. A.J. Brown's back. Now, when Henry comes back, now I can see them being a contender. And then before we get to the Rams, I'm going to stay in the AFC. The Raiders took care of business against the Broncos, but I believe the Bengals won the division today, blowing out the Ravens. And the Ravens didn't have Jackson. It wouldn't have mattered. It'd been a little close. They blew Baltimore out with Jackson in Baltimore. Joe Burrow did what he had to do: 37-46, 525 yards, a 143.2 passer rating, 4 touchdowns. And Mixon only rushed for 65 yards, but when your quarterback's doing that, you don't really need any of that. Look at these stats for a second. T. Higgins, 194 yards receiving, 12 catches, 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase's former teammate at LSU, 125 yards receiving. And then Boyd with a 68-yard touchdown catch. Mixon catching the ball. It was a bloodbath. Now, Baltimore has got injuries in the secondary, and kudos to the Bengals for taking advantage of it. The AFC North looked kind of messy with mediocre, slightly better than mediocre teams. The Bengals are just a young team. They've had a good year, but I think they're coming out of the pack because they're the most talented. They're not ready to make a run in the playoffs, but they're definitely ready to win this division. I was so disappointed in the Chargers. Are you kidding me? Getting beat up by the Texans. You got to come to play. Look, the Cardinals losing and I told you this, the Cardinals losing the Lions last week had residual problems. Now they turn around losing the Colts. You look at the Chargers throwing the game away against the Chiefs with an opportunity to win the division. They didn't recover. They're still struggling. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They're on the outside looking in, and it's bad. It's a mess. Baltimore is in, but barely in. If the Raiders beat the Chargers, I could see the Raiders sneaking in. Miami wins, and they're 8-7. If Miami, the way they're catching fire, Miami could actually make a run and get that last spot. That would be interesting. New England should be fine. Indianapolis is going to be fine. I think Indianapolis, Tennessee just has to. Now. They got the Dolphins at home, who's on fire, and at Houston. So they're going to have to take care of business now. They beat Indianapolis twice, which is huge. But they got to finish because Indianapolis got the Raiders. That's a great game at home. And then they got Jacksonville. So these next 2 weeks are going to be a lot of fun in AFC because Kansas City's going to see Cincinnati. And they might be catching Cincinnati. You know, Cincinnati has had a history of winning a big game and then laying down the next week. But I think they're going to give Kansas City all they can handle. But Kansas City's got to keep winning because Kansas City has always had the home field every year. Kansas City, and can they do it? For the last 3 years, they've had home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and they lost to Tennessee. They got Cincinnati and at Denver. And if you don't want to go to Tennessee to see Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown and a more healthier Tennessee, you better win this. But Tennessee's got to beat Miami. So it's going to be a lot of fun these last 2 weeks when it comes to the AFC. Now, the NFC, the Rams took care of business. The Packers took care of business against the Browns. The thing about the Rams, that was an interesting game from the standpoint of Matthew Stafford gift wrapped. they were kind of dominating the Vikings. Matthew Stafford gift wrapped 10 points with a couple of bad interceptions. He had 3 interceptions. So it's 13-10. The biggest, and I mean the biggest play without a doubt, was the Brandon Powell punt return for 61 yards to give them a 2-score lead, a 20-10 when the Vikings had momentum. They stopped the Vikings. They got back, got the stabilized with a 20-10 lead. Vikings cut to 7, and then a money, and I'm talking about a money drive by the Rams, which I was very, very, very impressed with how they drove down the field. Cooper Kupp was big time. Cooper Kupp got the Vikings where you had to go. Cooper Kupp 37-yard gain after a 27-20 lead by the Rams. He gets 37-yard gain, gives the ball to the Vikings. 35. They drive, they run the clock out, pretty much run the clock out with a game-ending field goal that puts them up 10. And the Rams end up winning a game they needed to get, and I believe they're going to win the division. The Cardinals have to play the Cowboys. The Cardinals and Cowboys, they're all, I think the road to the Super Bowl is going through Green Bay. I really do. Green Bay is 12-3. And if they take care of business, they'll have the home. They beat the Rams already. The Cowboys and the Cardinals are going to play each other. And it all comes down to conference. The Cowboys lost to Tampa. The Rams beat Tampa. So that has to sort itself out. But if you're the Rams, you want as many home games as you can. You don't have to travel all the way across country to Tampa in the playoffs. Now, traveling to Dallas ain't going to be so easy, but it's not as bad as going to Tampa. You're probably going to have to go to Green Bay unless somebody knocks Green Bay off. I'm no longer bullish on Frisco the way they play. The Eagles look good. They're pretty solid. They lost their running back. I don't like that. And you just got a lot of teams. But right now it's all about the Packers, the Rams, and the Cowboys. And Tampa is that wild card with Brady. I don't want to sleep on Brady, but I just think the most dominant teams are those 3 teams. All right, the NBA. The game of the day on Christmas was Golden State and Phoenix. It was a great, 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 great game. I was very, very impressed with that game. It was back and forth. The Golden State controlled it, and then the Suns made a move. They took the lead. And then the fourth quarter came, and Golden State outscored them 32-23. And it was about defense, and it was about Porter catching fire. Otto Porter scored most of his 19 points in the fourth quarter. He shot after big shot after big shot. Gary Payton defense was solid. What they did, I love what Golden State did. They really funneled their defense toward making sure Chris Paul was smothered on that pick and roll where he likes to come off the screen, hit the mid-range, and they made sure that Booker had a double team on any of his drives. A double team came, and they dared the others to take shots. And the only thing about Phoenix, when they play Golden State, I would go Ayton in the post over and over and over and over. I'd go Ayton. It's the advantage they have. And then what that does, that opens up more easier shots. I just think they should do that a little more. Teams don't do that as much, but Phoenix has that in their back pocket. They should do that more. They didn't. Golden State wins. Golden State's won 2 out of 3. They won 1 in Phoenix, 1 in Golden State. I know they have another coming up. These are the 2 best teams. Utah is right there. these are the best two teams in the West. I don't really have to talk about Al until they become relevant again. I'm probably not going to do a lot of Laker talk on my show because you have to, regardless of who you are, to be relevant. And they're at this point in time, they're irrelevant. And I look at the East, I'm loving Brooklyn, Chicago, Milwaukee, and Miami. So that I look at the top teams and I look to see who's coming up, who's a sleeper team, and I go from there. You know, but that was a very, very impressive win by Golden State. And what I love about Golden State, now they could use another. I want to see what Wiseman does. And of course, Klay Thompson's coming back. They need Klay to add that extra, and then Poole will be back. They didn't have Poole, but Porter scoring. The Porter's played good, and it's the culture. Porter was okay in Washington, but it's the culture, man. They breed that, and that's what makes them great. And it gives them an opportunity. And Draymond and Klay and Steph, they've been there, done that, and they're still young enough to play well. And they've been there, and that's the difference that they have. They've been to the mountaintop. Phoenix has been there, but not to the they haven't won it. And that's what is going to be interesting. But Phoenix and Golden State, they just seem like they're meant to see each other in the conference finals. No disrespect to a very solid Utah team. And the East is, depends on health. It also depends on health all around, even in football. Are you healthy? If you don't have as many COVID issues, you'll survive. It's about survival in the NBA.